Hey everybody, it's Garrett. I'm sitting here with Blender open. I decided to make a quick video to summarize each and every step that we had taken together as a class to model our basic house shape. I figured you guys need this. I needed to give you the means of memorizing this stuff actually. I couldn't really just leave it up to you to figure this out at home, and even with our hotkey sheet that I gave you guys, um, there's no way I could expect you to learn in this way. So these videos will help you in a couple of ways. One is, you're up close and personal with my screen as I'm guiding you through this process. So you'll be able to more easily see what is going on as I'm telling you to do these things and what changes are occurring. So you can be a little bit more mindful of what hotkeys are doing on a more detailed level, instead of just blindly following my words and hoping that everything works and my instructions are perfect, which they're not even close. But all right, so yeah, this video you're also going to be able to pause it too. That's also good, and you know, it's not going to include all the times I had to go to each one of you and make sure you're all on the same page. So this video should be only about 10 minutes long, and I really think if you repeat it, say 4 or 5 times, all the tools and the key combinations that I make you use to build this house, I think they will cement better in your mind after a few repetitions. So let's get this thing started. Right now my Blender is in its default scene, which is the cube in the center and the origin. If your Blender doesn't look like this, you were probably just messing around with it and you need to open a new scene. You can start a new scene by going to File up here and clicking New, or you can do Control, also known as CTRL, and hit N, and then click Reload Startup File. It's the same exact thing. So now you have a fresh scene. Now we want to make sure our viewport is oriented in a way that allows us to model uniformly, aka we want to be in front ortho mode. Now if you remember, the 1 key will make you view it from the front, but right now we're in the front perspective mode. And also, as another reminder, if any of these changes that I am making are not occurring on your screen, even despite you following my directions, it's probably because your mouse arrow, your mouse cursor here, is not within this viewport right here, this rectangular area, but on the outside of it. So any hotkeys I tell you to use, if your arrow's over here, the changes won't take place. So if you're having trouble, just make sure your arrow's in here. So hit front, or hit 1 to go into front perspective view. You can make sure that you're in front mode up here, and then hit 5 on the number pad to go from front perspective to front ortho. Now we're in front ortho mode. We have the cube selected. The cube should be selected, aka highlighted in orange as it is here. You can see around the cube it's glowing orange around the edges. That's good. It's selected. But we're in object mode and we need to edit it. So hit the tab key, which is the key located just above the caps lock key. I say that because not all keyboards actually call it tab. Sometimes there's just 2 arrows on the key and it doesn't say the word tab. Like Mike's keyboard was like that. But that is the tab key, so you hit that and it should bring it into edit mode and everything will be selected, which we do not want everything selected. So hit the A key to deselect everything. A key, toggles between selecting everything and then selecting nothing. So if you have one little thing selected, you hit A key, it'll select nothing. Hit the A key again, it'll select everything. But we want nothing selected. So hit the A key as many times as you need to where there's no orange, which means nothing is selected. Alright, so make sure we go back into front ortho mode. As quick overview of the camera controls, middle mouse button and drag will rotate around the origin, or your cube in this case. So you can look at it from all angles. Holding shift and clicking middle mouse button dragging will pan the camera movement. And holding CTRL, aka control, and middle mouse button clicking and scrolling forward and back will zoom in and out, as will taking your middle mouse wheel and scrolling it forward or back will also do the same thing, zoom in and out. Just not all mice have middle mouse buttons that are scroll wheels. Sometimes it's just a button, but so just in case I include that detail. But there's your camera controls. Go back into front ortho mode, and we gotta turn off this little guy down here again. Remember, I gave you a big lecture about how important it was despite its small size. Yeah, this button, just make a habit of deselecting it, aka light gray as opposed to dark gray. So we want it to be light gray. Whatever mnemonic device you want to create to help you remember that light gray is the way you want it to be, you know, live light, or you want to see the light, make sure it is light gray. Whatever you need to do to make sure you know that this thing is deselected because it is light gray, do that in your head and we will be on our way. So with this not selected, we're in edit mode and front ortho, nothing is selected, nothing is orange. Hit the B key and your mouse cursor will turn into this infinite line extending in horizontal and vertical directions from your mouse cursor, and click somewhere around here and select this portion right here, which if you rotate your camera, aka middle mouse button click and drag, you can see the entire top has been selected. Before, when I modeled the house with you, I actually had you change into face mode, face selection mode, by hitting Control and then Tab. Holding Control and hitting Tab, hold the Control button, hit Tab, and then this menu comes up and you can choose face selection. But actually, I'm going to show you an alternate way of doing it. While we're still in vertex mode, you can actually extrude the roof. Go back to the front ortho mode. Make sure you're in front ortho up here by hitting 1. And just hit E for extrude. So having the 4 vertices that make up the top face selected and then hitting extrude is the same thing as being in face selection mode, selecting the top face from the middle like you did before, the way we did it originally in the classroom, and then hitting extrude are the same thing. Selecting these 4, extruding, same thing as selecting the face in face selection mode. It all represents the same thing. So we have our roof extruded about this. You can hit G and select it. Hit G and then Z, you know, snap it to the Z axis because we don't want to be moving it in this direction unless we're trying to model a Dr. Seuss house. So you can always hit Control Z to undo any movements that I happen to do to show you for the sake of what you shouldn't be doing, and then you follow it, and then I say, haha, you're not supposed to do that actually. So Control Z, undo that. Yeah, so you can hit G to grab, and then Z to snap the grab direction in the Z axis, aka up and down, and find a suitable roof height for you. Some of you might want a larger roof. I don't know, it depends on the person. I would like a roof about this high. That seems about right for me. It's my kind of house, you know. And rotate it. Make sure it's not warped or anything. If it's warped, it probably means that you rotated the camera just slightly and you actually were not working in front ortho view. Notice if you middle click and drag just a tiny bit, even though it looks like it is in front ortho right now, it's in user ortho. So it's not perfectly straight on at the front view. And any manipulations you make will be offset by that little tiny amount you rotated. So always be aware that you're in whatever mode you're working in, whether it's front ortho, top ortho, or side ortho, and it should stay uniform and look like this. Again, rotate camera is middle mouse button, click and drag. And panning is shift middle mouse button, click and drag. You can zoom in with the mouse wheel, or control middle mouse button, click and drag. Both of those will zoom in and out. Hit 1 to go back into front ortho mode. And we're still in vertex selection mode. I know we were in face selection mode when we did this in the class, but I'm just going to do it a little bit different to demonstrate something new, and just an alternate way of doing it. With these 4, vertices still selected. If you happen to deselect any of them, or this isn't what your selection looks like, aka this orange area isn't the same on your screen, you can hit A to deselect everything. And if you don't want to select the vertices in the box selection mode, aka hitting B for box, dragging and surrounding those, A to deselect, you can also just look at the four corners up here that you want to select, the four vertices, and just right click them individually and hold shift to add to the selection. Because if you just right click each one of them without holding shift, it'll just select one at a time. You want to select multiple stuff, so you hold shift and you will add to the selection. So you want to make sure all four are selected, and hit 1 again, go back into front ortho. I'm really trying to get you in the habit of making sure you're always in either 1 front mode, 3 the side mode, or 7 top mode. Whenever you're manipulating the mesh at all, anything you're doing in 3D, I really want you to be in one of those modes so you're not messing up the uniformity, which is really important to get in the habit of doing early. Alright, so we're in front ortho mode. Now we're not. So hit 1, we're in front ortho. Hit W to bring up the specials menu. And if the specials menu doesn't come up, it probably means you somehow went into object mode down here. So make sure you're in edit mode. Hit W, bring up the specials menu, and go down to the third option, which is merge. And click that. And click the middle option, third one from the top, which is at center. And it'll look something like this. Now let's go right back to front ortho mode, hit the 1 key. So we have a nice little pyramid house, and let's get to creating whatever you want to call that thing. I called it the gutter, and Don gave me crap for calling the gutter. I can't even remember what he said it was called already. I mean, I just spoke to him last night at the grocery store, and I already forgot what he called it. It was like, I think it's an awning. So let's make the cut for the awning. We're in front ortho mode. Hit 1. Make sure we're in front ortho mode. And actually, let's hit Z to go into wireframe mode. As you might remember, Z will toggle between solid shaded mode and wireframe. Wireframe will be easy. We'll make it easier to work in at this point. So hit Z to go to wireframe like I am right now. So we're in wireframe, edit mode, front ortho, nothing selected, we're all good. Okay, just as we are right now, let's also make sure that everybody watching this video is in vertex selection mode. To make sure, with the mouse somewhere in this viewport space, as always, I'm just going to repeat that a lot to make sure you're conscious of where your mouse cursor is. Hit Control, hold Control, hit Tab, and click vertex. Just make sure that we're all in vertex mode. Now hold down Control and hit R. Now notice I can move my mouse around this shape and nothing happens. But as soon as my mouse comes in close proximity to any of these edges, a purple line will appear based on where my mouse is. We want to put our mouse cursor somewhere around this edge because we want to create a horizontal cut, like the shape that or the direction that the pink line is, a horizontal line. So put our mouse cursor right here, and once the little pink line, the horizontal pink line, you do not want a vertical pink line, you want horizontal like this. Once the horizontal pink line appears, you can left click with your mouse and the pink line will turn into an orange line. Now you can move your mouse up and down. You want to move the orange line to about here and left click again to finalize that, we could call it a cut, if you will. So now hit A after you had left clicked again, to finalize that cut if you didn't already. Hit A to deselect everything, aka get rid of any orange. Orange equals what is selected. I'm just trying to hammer that into your head because that's important. I know I'll be repeating myself a lot. And rotate it around, and you can see this cut has been made around the entire house. It goes all the way around. It's also known as a edge loop. We've created another edge loop. And edge loops are very important in creating more detail and making extrusions. So hit 1 again, make sure we're in front ortho mode. Nothing is selected, that's exactly what we want. We do not want anything selected. Now hit B for box selection, and we're going to select this group of vertices, these 4 that make up this rectangular shape, and the one top tip point of the roof. So we should have all this selected at this point. Go back into front ortho mode, just how it is right now. And actually, let's go to top ortho mode. So hit 7 instead of 1. Now we're viewing it from the top. We are seeing the very point of the roof as it is right now. And with what we have selected here, if we hit E for extrude and then right click right after hitting E, so I right click, now we've made an extrusion, but we haven't changed the the size of the new geometry that is springing from our selection. That is the way of thinking of extrude. Like, we just hit extrude and then right clicked to not move the extrusion, but the extrusion still took place. So we have this new geometry that we need to increase the size of, because right now it just looks the same. So go back to top ortho mode and hit S for scale, and then hold shift and hit Z, because we are scaling it in all directions except up and down. Our gutter does not need to be increased in height. We just want it to extrude in these directions. And remember, we're viewing it from the top now, so don't be confused. We're in top ortho mode, so you can think of this house, we're viewing it from the top, and this is kind of like where the gutter hangs down, So we have this shape. This is what it should look like. And if you didn't happen to extrude correctly, like if you hit one of the wrong mouse buttons and you didn't extrude properly, what your screen might look like would be, don't try to replicate what I'm doing, but if you didn't hit extrude the right way, if you didn't follow things perfectly, what your screen probably looks like now is this. If it looks like this, just hit Control Z until it's back to this, and follow these instructions one more time. Make sure you do it perfectly the way I say. Hit E for extrude, right click, just anywhere in the viewport right after hitting E, and then hit S for scale, and hold shift, hit Z. Like I said before, we're excluding the Z axis from our scaling of this selection, because we do not want it to scale up and down, but just left and right, or just outwards like that, not up and down. And before, we had done the extrusion and the scaling in the top view the first time, and I just showed you what extruding it looks like from the front view. None of the hotkeys changed, just what you see on screen changes. But I'm just showing you it doesn't really matter what view you were in, as long as you were extruding and then scaling, excluding the Z axis, aka S for scale, shift, hit Z for exclude Z, and then moving the mouse to choose your desired extrusion length, if you will. Okay, this concludes my step-by-step tutorial that summarizes the work we did together in the first class, our first modeling exercise, modeling the house. Everything is pretty much consistent with the way we had modeled it in the class, except I showed you an alternate way of extruding the roof. For example, in the class we selected the entire face and extruded it upwards, and I also showed you that you can just select the 4 vertices that represent that face and extrude the vertices, and it does the same exact thing. So that's cool. You can learn something new from this video.
And I also recommend just drilling through this video 4 or 5 times. Do it as many times as you feel you need to get really familiar with memorizing these tools and make it so you can switch between front and side and top viewports just as second nature. Once that becomes quick to you, once navigating the viewports becomes quickly, then it's just a matter of learning the tools, and I'll show you different workflows. So that's my job, and you'll be well on your way. If at any point you get hung up on a specific part of this tutorial and your end result doesn't really reflect what my house looked like towards the end, for instance, if your house looks like this hook, as an extreme example, if your house looks like a horrible deformed hook, then you're probably doing something fundamentally wrong and I didn't explain something thoroughly or something. So in that case, if you have your end result that you're not satisfied with here and you want me to see it and tell you what you are doing wrong and explain more thoroughly, I suggest you save your .blender file of this hook or this weird warped looking thing that should be a house but isn't. Go to File up here and do Save As. Right now we're saving the file. Select the desktop so you can find it easily. And right here, anything before this .blend is the file name that it'll save as. So I have it set to hook_house.blend. That's the file name. So we use underscores. We don't use spaces in file names. It's not proper. I don't even think it'll let you do that. So to separate the two words, we have an underscore. Hook_house.blend. That looks good. We have it set to the desktop right here, highlighted in blue. Go up here and click the Save as Blender File button, and it should save your desktop. I'd recommend minimizing, clicking this right here to minimize the Blender window and actually check the desktop and make sure that it physically saved there, and it's not gonna, you're not gonna close Blender and realize it didn't save actually. And email me at shrddwt, short for shredded wheat, at yahoo.com. Again, shrddwt, and send me, in the subject line, be like, I messed up your house, haha, or whatever, and attach me your Blender file, and I'll take a look at it, and I'll look and I'll be like, all right, he's got a hook. He just likes modeling hooks, or whatever. I'll tell you what went wrong with your modeling, and I'll tell you how to fix whatever thing caused your house to not look like a house, or whatever question you might want to address, and I'll try to answer that as quickly as possible through email, and that should be fine. I plan on doing a video like this for every class that we have together, so there will be a total of 4 videos, a video to each class I teach. So and I'll give it to you in whatever format you need. So if you don't have internet, I'll give it to you on a DVD disc if need be. But I will have a YouTube channel where they're all located together. So this is going to be my way of making sure you have the means to memorize stuff if you want to. I still have no expectation of you working on this at home. I know we're all really busy people, but if you really want to make sure that you're really quick on this stuff and you want to memorize it, do this tutorial 5 times and see how much faster you navigate, and I think you'll be surprised. I'll see you guys next Wednesday.